it is so exciting to be back with you on my show. Now, maybe some of you have been wondering, where have you been, Seemore Scripture? We've been looking for you. Well, if you don't know this, maybe you do. I've said this many times. Eventually, Pastor Phil found me hiding in a heat duct and said, Seemore, you cannot be living in a heat duct. That's dangerous. And pretty soon we'll be smelling cooked Seemore since it's gotten cold and the heat will be turned on and all of that jazz. So Pastor Phil was talking to me, and because I'm from Toronto and I'm not a legal person here in Tacoma, I got sent back to Toronto. So I'm sitting here in my show, doing my show from a little one-room apartment here in Toronto. So I'm getting to be with you together again. But I did finally pick up a sponsor, but the sponsor was very strict with me about saying I had to do certain things. And so before I begin, I have to, there we go, have to make sure that we're all safe and sound. And my next guest is kind of old, so make sure you don't get hand sanitizer in your mouth. It's disgusting. Anyway, just a minute. All right, so this is, wait, what's that? Oh, okay, just a second. Here we go. It's so important, boys and girls, when we are doing this thing called taking care of ourselves, that we are wiping things down, making sure that we're keeping our distance, not touching our hands and faces. Ooh, I hope that doesn't break my computer. Anyway, I do hope hand sanitizers doesn't sting because it's kind of gotten all over me. Anyway, so here we go. We are sanitized and we're ready to go. It's so good to see you, boys and girls. Again, I've missed you, and let's get on with the show. Well, today on the show, we've got a great, he's one who's been around the block multiple times. It is Abram. Hello, Abram. Are you there?
Yes, Seemore, I'm here.
Oh, Abram, it is so good to see you. Abram, how are you handling this quarantine? Are you staying safe? You're kind of old, aren't you?
Yes, well, yeah, fairly old, but I handle things just kind of on a, well, you would say a day-to-day
Okay, good.
basis.
But you're keeping yourself distance from others and wearing your, of course you're not wearing your mask now because you're at home, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, that's right. But you're keeping yourself sanitized like I did, and covering myself in hand sanitizer.
Oh, yes.
Oh, good. Well, Abram, today on the show, we're talking about how in the times of uncertainty, you know, if you've ever been in those times, which we're going to talk about, there's times in our lives where things sometimes just don't make sense.
Oh, yes.
Unless you're me, most of my life I feel like just doesn't make sense. I don't make sense sometimes. Anyway, but that's something I'm working with my therapist. Anyway, so we're talking about in the times of uncertainty, not knowing, which can be scary. In your times of not knowing, Abram, have you been scared?
Oh, yes, many times. God would come and say, Abram, you got to go here. You got to go there. And I'd say, well, okay, God. But
yes.
I, you know, inside I was really kind of scared, not knowing. But
yes.
I eventually learned that I could trust God.
Yes, and that specific time that you're talking, or maybe you're talking about, but I know that you were living in a land with your family and all was well, but then God spoke to you, didn't he?
Yes, yes, he
And,
did.
and he said, Abram, I need you to go over there.
Oh, oh, it's like, you pull up, you have your life, regulated,
Mm,
and things seem to be going along smoothly.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you got to move.
Yes, 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 yes,
It
yes.
was scary.
Yes. So you were here, and God said, go here. So you had to go to this point. You were
Yes, yes,
here, then you
yes.
were there. Here, there. Correct? Is that correct, Abram?
That's correct. That's correct. Getting
You went
there
from here to
was
there.
difficult.
No, when God said, Abram, I need you to go over there, did he give you a roadmap? Did he give you a set of instructions that said first turn left, then turn right, take I-22 over there? Did you have to take certain freeways to get to where you were going? Did he give you a
No,
set of directions?
no. Had
He
no maps.
no maps. Did
Because
you use your Google map?
we didn't have Google in those days. We didn't have anything, basically. Actually, God just said when he tapped me on the shoulder, Abram, you're going to go where I'm asking you to go.
Mm,
And let me ask you something.
yes.
Who wants to argue with God?
Not this man. That seems ridiculous. Even
Yeah.
ridiculous for someone like me. Okay, so Abram, God said to you, you need to go from here to there. And so you said, okay, God. In that process of not knowing, in the traveling, did you get nervous? Did you start to, you said you were scared, but was there a time of just feeling like all up in the air, like, well, I don't know what's going on?
Well, I don't know that I felt like I don't know what's going on, although I must say there might have been a few times, but I always had this to fall back on, if I can say that. God asked me to do something, and I'd learned that when God asks you to do something, he doesn't leave you alone.
You mean he never left you alone on that journey?
Well, sort of, but God was always there.
God was always there. Was he like the side in the side in your car as you were traveling? Was he like in the passenger seat saying, "I'm right here, Abram. Keep going, keep going"?
Well, if you can use that as a, what's that word that begins with an M?
I don't know.
Metaphor.
Oh yes, 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 yes.
Yes, yes. Well, if it's like
I never did good in science.
I see, I see. Well, anyway, I trusted God. Again, that's the point. I trusted God because he had asked me to do some other things and I'd done them. And God always comes out with his promises.
There's an element of God which would you say that it was his power, that you knew that no matter what, if God tells you to go somewhere, or if you're in a time of uncertainty or not knowing, you knew you could trust God, didn't you?
Yes, I learned that.
Abram, has God ever let you down?
No, he hasn't.
Has he ever not been faithful? Sometimes we have friends and they kind of poo-poo out on us. Has God ever poo-pooed out on you, ever not been faithful?
No, I can't say that he ever has.
Yes.
Sometimes when I thought it was going to be a certain way, but God said, no, 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 Abram. It's going to be this way.
Yes.
Well, I
That's
learned that God's way will always bring you through. It's a hard lesson to learn.
Yes. You should have used some alliteration there or some rhyming. Abram, you should have said like God's way is always the right way. No, that didn't work. God's way, Fay, tray, won't leave you in an ice tray. No, that doesn't work. God's way is the best way. Anyway, that doesn't matter. So
it's a magnificent way.
It is a magnificent way. So what you're saying, and boys and girls, if you're listening at home, you need to understand that in these times of uncertainties, even right now, you might be at school on using the computer from your house, or you don't know when you get to go back, or maybe you don't even know when you get to give someone a hug, or even taking off the mask. There's a lot of questions out there right now, and it's okay. It's okay to have those questions, but like Abram, we have to continue to trust God's power and his promises. He will not let us down. He, in fact, will get us through this time. Wouldn't you say, old Abram, old pal?
Yes, and I believe that it comes down to this. I know the things that you said are exactly true.
Yes.
But I learned, and this is saying probably the same thing, I learned to trust his love.
That's good, Abram. You are one smart man. You truly have been around the block a couple times, haven't you?
A few times. Might be slow, but I get there.
Well, Abram, our time is coming to an end, and I just need to ask this. I've always wondered, first of all, thank you for doing my show.
Oh, it was a delight.
I've wondered, so you went from Abram to Abraham. Is that not correct?
I believe that's how it went.
Is that because you got caught eating a lot of the minced Christmas hams? And so they said it's a pickup name of Abraham. You just love your good old ham steaks, ham chops, ham other things that I don't know about. But is that how you got switched to Abram to Abraham because of your love for ham? In that case, my name would be Seemore Pork Chops.
It's a good one.
I love a good pork chop.
Yes. Well, I don't know that's how, but I know that Abraham came from there somewhere.
Yes.
I don't know how it got there, though.
So it wasn't because of your love for ham?
Most likely not.
Okay, that's okay. Well, boys and girls, there you have it. Abram was there to tell us about the story of traveling over from here to there because God told him. And even in the uncertainty time, even in that time of not knowing, he kept trusting God's promises, just like you and I need to keep trusting God in these times of not knowing. It's okay to not know sometimes, but what we can know is that God will not let us down. So there you have it, boys and girls. It's good to be back. It's good to see you, even though you can't really see me, but I can see you. No, wait. I can't see you, but you can see me. It's been a while. I need to brush up on all this. Boys and girls, we hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next week on the Seemore Scripture Show.